Okay, DW Gaming here with the patch notes for the PTB that are on the PTB now concerning the newest killer and the newest survivor. Um, right off the bat, I have to say that the killer is. The art department did an excellent job with the killer's design. It's sufficiently creepy, and it's good we got another monstrous type creature. I was getting tired of the boring human type killers that have been just been infesting the killer roster lately. So it's good we got another monstrous creature. I always enjoy the more monstrous looking killers in the roster, and the newest one, the Unknown, definitely has that vibe. It reminds me of a lot of the monsters you would see in like maybe the in 80s and 90s horror films. It just has that type of aesthetic to it. It's very well done. I do have to give some kudos to the art department for that. Not so much for the power, though. I think the teleporting is a good idea, but unfortunately, it's another projectile-based killer. I'm not the best with those type of killers. I'll see how this goes when it hits the live servers. I'll definitely be playing this killer, obviously, but I'm always wary about using projectile killers. It does have an area of effect, so maybe it will be more forgiving than, say, the Deathslinger or Huntress or Trickster. So we'll see how that goes. Right now I'm looking at the forum. They have the patch notes in detail, so let's get into it. This is quite lengthy, so I will try my best to keep it brief. So we have a new survivor here, Sable Ward. She's nothing special. Survivors are just skins. I don't know her backstory at all. They don't list it here. I'll check out her backstory when she goes live, but I doubt she'll be anything that interests me. She's supposedly a friend of Michaela Reed, which is already ramping up my irritation level because I can't stand Michaela Reed. So let's see what perks she brings with her. So the first perk is Invocation, Weaving Spiders. When in the basement near the circle, press the ability button 1 to begin the invocation. Invocations take 120 seconds. Other survivors will see your aura during this and can join an ongoing interaction, increasing the speed by 50% each. So 120, half that is 60 if you have another survivor working on it. Half of that is 30. No, that can't be right. It would take longer than that, wouldn't it? I'm not very good at math. So 120. And it increases the speed by 50%. So if they have an invocation perk equipped, then they increase it by 100%. Okay, that's odd. Would it be gotten done almost instantly? I'm not sure how this is how they're wording this. So, if you have 3 other survivors working on it with you, it's a total of 150%, and it takes 120 seconds. So let's think. 100% of 120 seconds is 12 seconds. So 6. So 18 seconds would be removed from this. Is that how it works, I suppose? If someone could let me know in the comments who's better at math than I am, I would greatly appreciate it. Math makes me very angry. And I'm feeling the anger ratcheting up right now. So I'm going to just, skip this. I mean, it'll take less time, obviously. Once the invocation is completed, you become injured and broken for the rest of the trial, and all generators instantly gain a maximum of 15 charges. Well, what's a charge? Is that a percentage? If that's what they mean, then each generator on the map gets 15% completed, I'm assuming. I don't like these perks that are focused on decreasing the time it takes to complete generators to begin with. I don't think they should be in the game at all. I think both on Survivor and Killer side, anything that influences generator speed should be done away with. Generators should be a set static speed that does not change with items or perks that are brought into the trial. I think more than one survivor working on a generator should not influence it greatly or even at all, because the biggest problem killers have in this game is generator speeds. But this is definitely not a perk that's heading in the right direction in terms of making it more manageable for killers to actually control the generators. Completing the invocation disables that perk for all survivors, so it can only be used once. I don't see this as being used by solo queue survivors, because here's the thing, and what the developers don't understand is that this further widens the gap between solo queue and Swift. If you log in and play as solo queue, spawn into a match as a solo survivor, you're not going to spend 120 seconds in the basement with this. I mean, first of all, that's a massive waste of time. Secondly, the problem is you're going to be broken for the rest of the trial, and there's no way you can expect your teammates to body block for you if you get in a chase with the killer. Now, that being said, if you're on a Swift, like especially a 4-man, this can be easily abused by a 4-man Swift. Only one survivor, the one who actually started the circle invocation, actually gets broken, which is already I can see problems with. It's because the other members in their Swift will just simply body block for them when they are chased by the killer. Also, the generators, obviously when you're a Swift, the generators go extremely fast anyway, and this will just make them go even faster. So that's not good. This perk is very problematic. It's the developers not understanding and actually exacerbating the problems between solo queue and Swift. This is not usable if you're solo queue survivor. You're not going to use this. It would be suicidal for you to use this as a solo queue survivor. However, in a Swift, it's almost guaranteed they'll use this. They just need to body block their teammate, which they will do, obviously. No one else gets broken, which is a problem. I would think that if they're all working on the circle in the basement, all survivors who worked on that circle should get broken. I would think that would be more fair than just having the survivor who started the invocation circle get broken. Otherwise, yeah, this is very abusable by Swift. Swift will most likely use this perk. They have no problem just rushing through the generators. This will make them go even faster, and they will have no problem having one of their teammates broken. So yeah, this is not it's not healthy for the game. It's definitely not healthy for solo queue, but it's not healthy for the game in general, because it just widens the gap between solo queue and Swift even more. The developers don't seem to understand this, unfortunately. Okay, her next perk is Strengthen Shadows. When in the basement, this perk activates. Unlocks the Strengthen the Shadows ability, which allows you to heal without a medkit at 60% normal healing speed. When you're in the basement, obviously. When you finish a heal in the basement, you see the killer's aura for 10 seconds. I'm not sure why you would use this and not something like self-care and botany knowledge, which you can heal yourself with self-care botany knowledge anywhere on the map, and it's faster. Now, if you were to use something like this with botany knowledge instead of self-care, it would be faster yet. But the problem is you would have to make your way to the basement, which, depending on where you are, can be quite a time waste and put you in a dangerous situation if the killer spots you. Yeah, I don't see this perk being used. I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, I can heal myself anywhere on the map in a safer location at a faster speed with self-care botany knowledge. I can use this in conjunction with botany knowledge for an even faster healing speed, but I would have to make my way to the basement, which not only wastes time, but also puts me in a very vulnerable position. I don't think this perk is worth using. It's not really that good. Her final perk is Wicked. This okay, so this perk starts with 1 token up to a maximum of 5. For each token you recover from Mangled 20% faster. For each 15 seconds spent in the basement, you gain 1 token. While affected by the cursed status effect, you heal 10% faster. Okay, this is a weird one. So obviously this only applies with the new Mangled status effect that's going to have a timer. I'm not sure why they released a perk that is dependent on the new status of Mangled. I mean, obviously they're going to be released at the same time, but still it's strange that they would have something so soon that would help you mitigate Mangled's duration. And also it says you're now cursed when you run this perk. So does that mean like you're cursed as in if there would be a active totem perk being used by the killer? Is that what that means? I mean, I can see survivors running this perk and Soul Guard, because this would essentially be unlimited unbreakable, wouldn't it? Because Soul Guard allows you to pick yourself up from the dying state if you're cursed by a hex. And this perk says you're cursed. I'm assuming it's the same status as if you would be, as if the killer were running a hex perk. That can be very abusable. I can see this being used by people who use Unbreakable, Soul Guard, and this perk to basically make slugging a thing of the past if they wanted to, because they'll always be able to get themselves up. That's the only time I think people will use a perk like this. Otherwise, it's pretty worthless. I mean, in order for to mitigate the amount of time you're mangled, you would have to spend time in the basement. Once again, it's a spending time in the basement perk where that's number one, an enormous waste of time because there's nothing for you to do in the basement. And number two, you put yourself in a very vulnerable position going down there. I don't see it being used for that. But if it acts as if you were in a trial with the killer using a hex totem perk, I can definitely see it being paired with Soul Guard and Unbreakable to give yourself a faster pickup speed and to recover from the dying state completely for an unlimited amount of times. I can see those three perks in being used in conjunction, and it's going to create another very a very broken perk combo, like For the People and Buckle Up, because you get endurance when you pick yourself up with Soul Guard. Yeah, I can definitely see it being used in that manner, especially if you're on a Swift and you have like 4 people running Wicked and Soul Guard, and you have say the other perks that they run in the Swift, or say Boil Over, Saboteur, you got someone going around sabotaging hooks. Breakout, you have a person hanging around the killer when they're carrying someone, so it would be impossible for the killer to actually hook survivors if they were running this type of build. I can definitely see this happening. With a coordinated Swift, you would never be able to hook any survivor as the killer. It's a very, very problematic. They would go to the second floor of any main building on the map and use Boil Over. That way they would get off your shoulder quicker when you pick them up. Yeah, this is not good. They need to get rid of this. Get rid of this effect. Just have it where you recover from mangled faster. Don't include this effect at all. Because I'm seeing it being used in conjunction with Soul Guard, Unbreakable, to make a broken 3 perk combo. It'll definitely be used by a Swift. They will abuse the hell out of this. So yeah, that's not good either. Another perk that further widens the gap between Swift and solo queue. New killer, the Unknown. As I said, I've seen the killer. It's extremely impressive with how it's designed aesthetically. Its power, not so much. Its power is very convoluted. I missed killers who had simple powers like Wraith. You ring a bell, you get uncloaked. You ring a bell, you cloaked. This killer's power is it's got a lot of things going on. It's almost like the Skull Merchant's power in a way. I don't know why they keep coming out with killers with more complicated power interactions. Killer power. Press the power button to charge UVX. Once ready, press the attack button to launch UVX, a bouncing projectile which creates a blast area upon impact. Survivors become hindered if touched by UVX while airborne. See, already it's got an extra condition right there. You can only hinder them if you hit them with the projectile while it's still in the air. So your aim has to be relatively good. That already is a problem for me, I can see. Survivors touching the blast area become weakened. Weakened survivors lose health states if touched by blast area. So I assume this means they have to be shot at twice, and the blast area has to hit them twice in order to remove a health state. So it's kind of like Nemesis Tentacle in that way. Initially, the tentacle won't actually injure the survivor. It will only infect them, I should say. Survivors lose weakened by successfully staring down the unknown. Survivors going to hate that. I can already see they're going to hate this killer because a lot of survivors in Chase do not look behind them. So they're not going to lose weakened. So I can already see this killer being hated by survivors. Special ability, hallucinations. The unknown will intermittently create hallucinations. Hallucinations cannot be created while charging UVX, performing interactions, or in proximity to map objects like hooks. Whenever survivors are touched by blast area or otherwise become weakened, the next hallucination spawn time decreases by 10 seconds. Special ability, teleport. The unknown can teleport to hallucinations, leaving behind a temporary decoy. Survivors can remove hallucinations from the trial with the dispel ability. Weakened survivors take longer to dispel. If dispel is not completed, survivors become weakened and trigger killer instinct. Okay, that's interesting. So he can teleport to his hallucinations, but the problem is that you have no control over where a hallucination will spawn. I suppose you will have some control depending on where you are on the map and if you know when the next hallucination will spawn. But still, it's not... You don't press a button and it's automatically created. The game itself creates the hallucination. We'll see when we play him. His perks, Unbound. This perk activates for 30 seconds after a survivor becomes injured by any means. After vaulting a window, you get 5% haste for 10 seconds. This effect cannot stack with itself. So I can see killers like Billy, maybe Bubba, using this with Bamboozle to block windows, but it's only if the survivor becomes injured. So it's not really... They wouldn't get much value from that if they downed a survivor with their chainsaw. Maybe Wesker. If you use Bamboozle and Unbound on Wesker, it would be worth it. I don't know. This is a very situational perk. You do have to injure a survivor in order for it to be effective. I don't know. Maybe Legion. Legion with Bamboozle would probably find a good use for this perk. Yeah. I think it would probably work best on Legion because Legion would get more haste when they vaulted a window. Yeah. That's probably the only situation I can see this perk being used. Maybe on a Legion player. Unforeseen. When you perform the break action on a generator, your terror radius transfers to the generator for 30 seconds, and its radius is set to 32 meters. Okay, so this is basically like Dark Devotion, except it's not when you hit your obsession with a basic or special attack. It's when you kick a gen. So that generator will now have a terror radius, so it'll keep survivors away from it, most likely. And you'll be undetectable. So yeah, this is basically like Dark Devotion, except you apply it to generators instead of your obsession. Okay. Lastly is Undone. When a survivor misses a healing or repair skill check, gain 3 tokens up to a maximum of 30 tokens. When you perform the break action on a generator, if you have any tokens, consume all of them. For each token consumed, the generator loses 1% total progress and then becomes blocked for 1 second. 1 second, really? Would it be like 30 seconds since I don't know. If it's just 1 second and it's not influenced by the maximum amount of tokens, then that's stupid. 1 second block. I mean, come on. Then once the generator is unblocked, it starts regressing. Well, then what's the point of it losing progress and then becoming blocked if it doesn't regress when it's blocked? That's stupid. This perk goes on cooldown for 60 seconds. Yeah, I don't see this perk as being very useful. Thing is if you're going against good survivors, they're not going to miss a healing or repair skill check. It's very rare. So you're not going to gain a whole lot of tokens. And it'll regress for the amount of tokens you have, but then it won't actually start regressing until it's unblocked, which is stupid. There's no point in breaking the generator if it doesn't start regressing immediately. That's just dumb. And yeah, you're not going to get a lot of survivors at high MMR who miss skill. They don't miss skill checks. It just doesn't happen. Maybe this would be useful on Doctor, but this is kind of a joke perk. I don't see anyone running it. The Unbound, very situational. Not going to use it. And Unforeseen might be good. It does have a cooldown. But I don't think the cooldown is as long as like Trail of Torment's cooldown. I'm not sure. So that might be worth running instead of Trail of Torment. But I mean, Trail of Torment, you are undetectable forever until the generator stops regressing. But still, the generator having a terror radius might scare survivors away from it. So I don't know. I don't know about any of these perks. They're kind of mediocre at best, it seems. New map, Greenville Square. A new section of the Withered Isle has opened up to the players. The Greenville Square is a very different environment from what was previously seen from that realm. It features a brand new set of tiles, including a new main building, the theater. Make sure to explore all of its layers. Look out for the statue where two familiar friends would meet up and leave their mark. What does it mean and where will it bring us next? No one ever came back to tell us. Yeah, blah, blah. From what I've seen, it's a huge map. It's very problematic in terms of its size. So not looking forward to playing on that map. Mangled update. Mangled up until now has required survivors to heal in order to remove the effect, while also slowing down healing speeds. To create more meaningful player choice. No, it does not create more meaningful player choice. Adding a timer will not create more meaningful player choice. Good survivors will simply wait it out and do a gen instead. It's not hard to figure out. Unfortunately, the developers do not play Survivor at a high level, or they would know this. So yeah, they've added a meaningless timer to Mangled for the reason that they think will be providing more of a meaningful choice to players. Yeah, right. Sure. So they show the affected perks: Blood Echo, Sloppy Butcher, Scourge Hook, Gift of Pain. Wait. Blood Echo and Gift of Pain both have Mangled status effects on them now? Okay. I don't use those perks, so that's why I guess they've always had these Mangled effects with associated with them. I don't use them, so every now and then I might use Gift of Pain, but it's a very underwhelming perk, Gift of Pain and Blood Echo. The only reason you would use that perk is to make other injured survivors exhausted. So, okay. And the affected add-ons. Legion's Deface Smiley Pen, Diagnostic Tool Singularity, Deathslinger's Rusted Spike, Begrimed Chains for Hillbilly, Blind Warrior for Wraith, Broken Hilt for Knight, Fragile Weeds for Nurse, Grizzly Chains for Cannibal, Honey Locust Thorn for Deathslinger, Kane's Helmet for Xenomorph, Powdered Glass Skull Merchant, Rusted Jaws for Trapper, Rusty Attachments Pig, Unity Blades Pig, Rusty Heads Huntress, Sulfuric Acid Vial Clown, Thorny Nest Artist, Begrimed Head Huntress, Straight Razor Good Guy, Tealing Blade Dredge, Cat Block Nightmare, Z Block Nightmare, Crimson Ceremony Block Executioner. Yeah, so it's all the killers with the mangled add-ons for their powers. Killer updates, the Blight, Compound 33, Rush cannot be performed more than 3 times, was to increases rush turn rate by 33%, increases rush duration by 33%. Yeah, there's really no reason to run either of the iridescent add-ons for Blight. He doesn't really need them, but they were fun, especially the Infinite Rushes one, the Blight tag. That was fun. The Clown base kit, increase afterpiece antidote duration to 6 seconds was 5. Decrease afterpiece antidote activation delay to 2 seconds was 2.5. Shouldn't have an activation delay. I would remove that completely. Increase number of bottles to 6 was 4. Decrease the visual effect intensity when survivors. Okay, nothing's changed there. Demogorgon, the decreased successful hit cooldown to 2.7 seconds was 3. Decreased shred pallet break cooldown to 1.8 seconds was 2. Okay. And they adjusted the add-ons accordingly. There is really nothing new here with these killers. They explain how the discipline... Was it discipline or calm? I said calm in the update video. It must have been discipline. Decreases the detonation delay of shock therapy by 15% once trying. So they removed 5%. Okay. It's still... Yeah, this is the stronger one. Discipline, Carter's Notes. It's the purple one. Decreases the detonation delay of shock therapy by 20% was 30%. It's still a good add-on. I can see it being used still in conjunction with the high stimulus electrode. Now it's odd they didn't mention that the high stimulus electrode add-on here. Does that still have the same range as it did with before the range was added to Doctor's base kit? If so, that's going to have a tremendous amount of range if you use the high stimulus electrode with the base range. Yeah, that the range on the shock therapy is going to be incredible with that add-on. I'm surprised it's not mentioned. I thought for sure they would reduce the range on the moldy electrode and the high stimulus electrode. That's interesting. I'll have to check that out when these go live. The HAG base kit's been changed. We know 48 meters, yep. 0.9 seconds, one big deal. 0.1 second. They've decreased the trigger range. Increase the time it takes to wipe away traps, so nothing's changed. That's the same. They inverted the effects of bloodied mud, bloodied water, and bog water. So it's all been decreased now. So if you run any of these add-ons, it's going to put you in an even closer position to the survivor who triggered the trap, which makes sense. They've reduced the cracked turtle eggs duration time. Cypress necklet, they've reduced the trap setting speed for that. Dead fly mud, they've increased the teleportation range by 10%, so they've reduced the range of that one. Dragonfly wings, it was 25%, they've reduced it by half, so they've reduced it to 12.5%. Dried cicada, the one I always use, increases teleportation range by 15%, was 30, so they halved it. Okay. Still going to be useful, I think. Half eggshell, they've reduced the duration of that one by more than half, by a dramatic amount, actually. Powdered eggshell, they've reduced its duration. They've reduced the setting speed of the rope necklet and swamp orchid necklet. They've reduced its setting speed as well. Okay. That's all to be expected because they increased the base setting speed time. Not by much. I mean, by 0.1 seconds. I mean, that's really nothing. So these are kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't play Hag that much. If I have a ritual or a challenge, I'll play her, but I'll see when these changes go live. Huntress base kit, we know about the hatchet count's been increased. The movement speed while holding a hatchet has been increased. It's still very slow compared to a survivor. And they've decreased the wind-up speed to 0.9 seconds again. 0.1 seconds, not much. Not much of a change, really. The pig, they've utterly destroyed the pig, I believe. The ambush attack duration cooldowns and the buffs to crouched her crouch movement speed and the time it takes for her crouch are not enough to prevent a survivor, I feel, from just abandoning the loop once they see a pig crouch. Oftentimes when you do crouch in a loop, it's at a pallet, so you can't even see if the survivor is leaving or not. So most pig players will just automatically go into the roar and the dash, and they'll be dashing at nothing because the survivor will be long gone. I don't see that changing with these minuscule changes to the times. Also, they destroyed her strongest ability, which was the reverse bear traps. You can no longer see jigsaw boxes, which is just ludicrous. I mean, Pig's best ability, since she didn't have any kind of a chase power, was to try to intercept survivors at jigsaw boxes when they were most vulnerable. The one thing she had going for her is now pretty much gone. And they've increased the reverse bear traps timer as well. I would be fine with these changes to her reverse bear traps if the game were about hooks and not kills. If the killer's main goal was to hook as many survivors as many times as possible. But the win condition has been established long ago, since the introduction of SBMM, that a win condition for killer is kills. 3 or 4K is a win. These changes make no sense when you factor in that the killer's main goal is to kill survivors. The devs are making it harder to do so. So there's no reason for these changes. They're just, it's a nerf. I mean, they've nerfed the pig again. It's not a meme, it's reality. They've done it again. No matter what they say, no matter what anyone else says, this is a straight up nerf. These numbers, these values are not enough to compensate for this kind of nerf to her reverse bear traps. So yeah, they pretty much destroyed Pig. If they make the game about hooks, doesn't really matter then. But right now, the win condition is kills, and this is putting Pig in a very bad position. She did not need these nerfs, and this is meaningless. This won't prevent survivors from. It won't prevent them from pre-dropping. It won't prevent them from leaving the loop. The best thing you can do against Pig right now is just pre-drop. You see her go into a crouch. I mean, no Pig player is going to go into her crouch when the pallet's down. They're just going to kick it. If she makes it to the pallet before the survivor does, she crouches. Survivor will just run away. These will not help her catch up. So, yeah, Pig has been severely nerfed for whatever reason. It's very, very infuriating. These stupid blood point adjustments don't mean a damn thing. You can get blood points so easily now. There's no reason for this here. And they've nerfed her add-ons, which I don't think really needed this strong of a nerf because of the minuscule values of these of her base kit. I mean, look at this. Combat straps. Increases crouching and uncrouching speed by 10% was 30%. We've killed them to just left this alone. Shattered syringe. Decreases ambush attack miss cooldown by 10% was 25%. Just leave it alone, guys. This is the PTB. See how she does. Workshop grease. It still increases the ambush attack charge speed by 50%, which is good. But decreases the attack miss cooldown by 10%. It was 25. So I suppose if you run these two add-ons together, you'll get it close to where it was. The problem is, though, most Pig players will run the RBT add-ons to try and make the timers go down faster or to increase the time it takes to actually remove an RBT. They won't run these add-ons because they're very weak. I would have kept these and at the very least have just left these alone, not even touched these. Just see how she does with these changes and the add-ons the way they were. Now, this is, I can't say anything else about this. I'm so disgusted with these developers. They've destroyed Pig. Yeah. Moving on. Copyrighted music. Whatever, you can disable it. I have no idea what they're talking about with that. I don't know what copyrighted music there would be in the game to disable. So, whatever. They've improved the blood web. Yes, we all know about that. Okay, and then they have a number of bug fixes. Fix some character sounds, missing voice line in the menu. Bots. The Nemesis zombies can no longer attempt to navigate towards vaults as they cannot vault. Yeah, that would make sense. Bots playing on the underground complex map are better at avoiding dead ends in certain tiles. Okay. Character fixes. The Cenobite's camera no longer points upwards when hit by a possessed chain. The Blight no longer has 3 tokens when equipping both Compound 33 and Iridescent Tag add-ons. What does that mean? He should have 3 tokens. For both add-ons, that's all he gets. So I'm not sure what they're talking about here. Has it been increased or reduced? I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about here. This sentence makes no sense. With those two add-ons, he has a maximum of 3 tokens. He can only rush 3 times. But then they say no longer has 3 tokens. So, which is it, guys? Whatever. The Hillbilly's Chainsaw no longer reappears late when dropping a carried survivor after being blinded or stunned. Okay. When crouched, the pig no longer plays the wrong vaulting animation. Downing a survivor affected by the afterpiece antidote no longer fails to give progression to the Alien Annihilator Archive Challenge. Oh, okay. Singularity's biopods can now properly lock onto survivors when on a 21:9 aspect ratio and the 16:9 aspect ratio setting is set to on. Okay. Knight's Guards now correctly detect survivor loud noises. That's good. Hillbilly's achievement, the Grind, now correctly counts chainsaw hits. Core memory, disturbing notions. On the Orman map, memory shards may spawn in the ground and cannot be collected by the survivor. Well, it's good they fixed that. Globally, the trapper's bear traps will appear to be floating when placed near a pallet. Yes, they will. I have seen that. It's quite amusing. Certain killer perks no longer provide progression to the Alien Annihilator Archive Challenge without giving a status effect to the survivors. Okay, whatever. The Dredge's Abduction now counts correctly as downing for the Alien Annihilator Challenge. Hubris no longer enters cooldown after intentionally dropping a survivor when they are past 75% wiggle progress. Okay. Survivors can get stuck inside lockers if they slowly enter the locker or under poor networking conditions. Never had that happen. The Plot Twist perk no longer activates the Dissolution perk. Okay. I would think so because it's not supposed to. Survivors can no longer place traps on regressing generators. Yeah, I would think they wouldn't be able to. Survivors now correctly receive the Killer Stun scoring event when using Blast Mine. M2 attacks are no longer considered basic attacks when blinded. The Blight's Rush action no longer fails to activate when a trial lasts very long. Killers no longer jump when the damage actions are canceled. The Thwack perk no longer fails to activate after destroying a breakable wall. Yeah, that'd make that perk useless, pretty much. The Knight can no longer teleport by performing interactions from far away using his power Guardia Campania. Okay. Environments maps. Improve performance globally when decorations are used on maps. Fix an issue for the bot navigation on the Combine Harvester. Okay. Fix an issue where the dark mist would not appear everywhere in the Greenfield Square. Oh no. We have to have our dark mist to make it even more difficult for killers to see. Fix an issue in the Greenville Square where the Blight could not bounce off blockers. Well, where are blockers? Blight can't bounce off a lot of objects. Just look at Ormond. There are so many rocks and snow piles on that map where the Blight just goes around. His power is pretty useless on that map. Fix an issue in RPD where the xenomorph turrets could should through the walls. I assume they meant be shown through the walls. Okay. UI. Fix an issue where the active state of the tab in the player profile is not resetting properly. Fix an issue where the player profile is displayed on the offering screen. Fix not being able to open options in daily rituals during the last 5 seconds before the trial starts. Fix an issue where some player cards do not appear in the search results. Fix a potential crash in the main menu when entering Killer Lobby on PS4 PS5. Miscellaneous. Black bars no longer appear around the screen in menus and transitions in resolutions other than 16:9. Known issue, the Withered Isle offering will not bring players to the new map, Greenville Square. Well, it shouldn't, because isn't it a different map? Isn't it the Garden of Joy map? So now, if this is the case, I guess the offering brings you either to Greenville Square or Garden of Joy. Okay. Whatever. So that's it. That is a very long patch notes. Covered it completely for the most part. We'll definitely be looking forward to playing the new Killer when they go live. Other than that, I will see everyone in the next video.